So, good morning. This afternoon now. I've been trying to do these recordings since like 10:30 this morning. Give me 2 seconds. Just realized I forgot something. So, I got a bone to pick. I don't think Kyle did it. I don't think he did it. Or at least, I don't have enough evidence to support that he did. Here's what we know. He's a punk 22-year-old kid who was likely on the roof with a recording device. We can't place him with the gun. The only evidence we have placing him with the gun is that he had to pick up a rifle from somewhere. But we don't have him as the shooter. People are going to get mad at me, but wait. The evidence shows that as he climbed off the roof, there's no rifle. How did it get to the forest? I don't think that's the rifle. Now, I've got some comparison images I'd like to show you. Now, in my own personal life, I have fired real rifles. I just don't have photographs of them, unfortunately. The closest I got is an airsoft rifle I had. A couple of them, actually. This one's the closest to the weapon that they claim they have right now. Whoops. There we go. This here's an airsoft rifle, but it was solid. It was a very good one. And if I were to... Oh, bloody hell. There we go. Let's do that. The reason I'm doing that is because... No, not that. Not that. We'll get into that in a minute. Not that. Oh, good grief. Not that. There it is. Okay. So... There we go. So if you want to compare these guns for a minute. Mine was an airsoft rifle, but let's forget that for a minute. Airsoft, especially MILSIM, military simulation, airsoft rifles tend to be very close. I played competitively, so that was a competitive bolt action. If you compare that to the 30-06, they're pretty close. Right? Now the images are a bit different, but from a weapon point of view, mine was actually a little bit longer. By a little bit. His not so much. Because mine, I think, was modeled after like a, what they call it, an M24 or something like that. So, let's take a look at that, actually. Let's find out. Let's go to Google. M24. Is this what it's called? Yeah, M24. And we want to find what was the weapon he used? It was a 30-06 what? What did they say it was? I want the exact model. Frick off. Somebody mentioned it was a Mauser or something or other. It's an imported 30-06 Mauser. Yeah. So if we, now his doesn't have that iron sight on the end, but what's important, there we go, is you compare the two, right? Let's do the math on that. So if you look at this, and it's a crappy, I thought it was going to be a great picture, but I wanted a something for scale. That's what I used to shoot. The no, I apologize. That's not it. That's a modern. I used to fire the 303. Whatever. We'll use what we got here. So there we go. So that's an M24, and now here we got the Mauser. But if you compare the two, the M24 is a bit larger, right? So similar in design, same company too. There we go. We got a scale. Yeah. It's professional and meant for longer range. This one's going to be shorter for hunting. So I'm going to be frank with you. There's no way in hell that he moved this gun in a backpack. We don't have evidence of that. The videos do not show him showing up with the gun. That's mine. They got a shooter up there for sure, but I don't place it as him. We got a guy with a revolver in the crowd running away. Here's a 30-06 round entry wound in a deer to compare with size. That's the Mauser. Here he is running after he picked something up off the ground, which he's still holding onto in his hand, while he's got something else in his hand, which they're claiming is the rifle. But here's where it gets sketchy. So I was commenting in response to somebody who said they caught the same thing and then went, "Oh, but he picked it up." No, that's planted information in your brain. What he picked up was something small. He didn't pick up anything big. And if you watch that piece of material in the video, you'll see it moves, bends. The rifle don't bend. Last I checked, the rifle wasn't made of rubber. Oh, it's fake. And certainly wouldn't bend that much. It's a good question to believe. He's not the shooter. Was he a stupid kid on the roof trying to watch everything unfold? Probably. And what about the guy in the crowd that was cheering on the assassination? Right? I mean, we don't even know if Charlie was still alive and conscious right after the shot. But what if he was? And he heard that guy cheering him on, loudly too. Big smile on his face, not even scared of the shooter. Did he know something? And what about the drone that was flying over the area? Anybody want to talk about that? I'm having a great problem believing that this 22-year-old punk wet behind the ears, whose father is a church pastor, or sorry, why did I say church pastor? My father's a church pastor and he's a douche. His father is a retired police officer. That's why he's being quiet with the police. He knows to shut his mouth. But I see no evidence of a mask on this kid, like in the shot with the shooter, who's prone on the roof. We got a guy with a backpack. Now, if you look at it from a military perspective, say this was an op, right? You're going to find that a sniper is not going to be alone, first of all. And secondly, the shooter would want to cover his face. He would have a pack on his back with items inside to continue and get out of the area. Like many have said, he's going to want to do this and not get caught. But a sniper always has a spotter. Let's go back to that for a minute. He's got no gun. Somehow the gun ended up in the forest. Now, if we were to pretend that weapon is the weapon, let's just accept that as fact. We know it didn't come off with him. This kid did not take it down the side of that building. Now, what if he had a rangefinder or a communications device with him? Now, think about that. Or just using his phone. What if Kyle Robinson was a spotter or just a punk kid recording the event happen from above? We have not seen evidence of how the hell that gun got off that roof. And until I see evidence of that, I'm not convinced he's a shooter at all. And that guy in the crowd, I don't know if he's just deranged or what, but he looked right up at the sniper. And he hesitated to get down. So, I think there's a lot more going on here. And I think Trump and the authorities, they know that. That's why they're being cautious. People are upset, so they're airing something now, but I think they know there's more to this story than just Kyle Robinson. Is Kyle guilty of perhaps assisting in the murder? Maybe. Maybe he is. Maybe he got his scholarship for that reason. And not to mention, we got that book that was aired the day before, talking about all the details of all this. That threw some heads too. And Amazon took it down right away. But it was very specific about where the shooting was, that it happened, the accused party, everything. Now, I get that some people can publish books pretty quickly, but not that fast. Not that fast. That's not possible. So, I'm sorry, but no. No. You don't publish a book and get it on Amazon that quickly. It's impossible. So there's some definite questions here that need some answers. And there's also a drone. And again, the guy with the revolver. I'm not convinced that what they're telling us is right and true. And I hope and pray, for everyone's sake, that Trump is not trying to hide something. I've never been a non-Trump supporter. Well, no, I take that back. When he first became president, and I don't say that before he became president, or sorry, at the time that he became president, but before he became president, there was a bit of an issue. I was like, why Trump? I've known him to be stone cold, greedy. There's a lot of history on Trump, but it was a lot of mixed information that I should not have been paying attention to. And what we've learned is that he has done very well, actually. And we've learned from experience that Trump follows through. He's a bit of a dick, but that's what's needed in the White House. I hope that Trump is not helping to cover something up. We need to know what happened. Everybody needs to know what happened. Charlie was loved by many. And it's time that something get done. But the evidence does not support the storyline. There's too many questions. And I don't believe everything we're hearing right now. And so what I see for the moment is a lot of lies, maybe some misinformation, misdirection. And there might be some valid reasons for that. But from where I'm standing, I have very serious questions in terms of what's really going on. What really happened? Where did the shooter really come from? Was it up close? It was a pretty good shot. It was very accurate. Right in the artery. "22-year-old doing that? I don't know. I don't buy it. There's plenty of other people that are pretty smart, know what the heck they're talking about. And they're questioning it too. So I think we need to sit back and reevaluate. I'm not convinced that Kyle did anything. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm saying I don't have enough evidence to place him with the gun. At least not at the site where the shot happened. With a gun, with a rifle, yes. At the university, I have no evidence to support that he was there with that gun. And if I were a judge and the prosecutor, I'd be like, I don't got enough for trial. That's just my opinion. Now, is he guilty of other things? Yes. Do they have enough to hold him and continue to investigate? Yes. Do they have enough to get him on murder? No. Not yet. I don't believe they do. And they need a scapegoat. And maybe they know exactly who it was and they can't do anything about it and they know it and that's why they're doing this. Wouldn't be the first time. Was Kyle a spotter? Maybe. Was Kyle just a dumb kid on the rooftop in the wrong place at the wrong time? Maybe. But I don't see him with the gun. And unless you show me something with him, with the gun on him, I can't believe it. Because the evidence, you got to understand, they're seeking the death penalty. You can't undo that. You can't come back to that 10 years later and let the guy out of jail because you realized he didn't do anything. And to be honest with you, I know I said I supported the death penalty. I don't. Because Charlie wouldn't. If he literally apologized, Charlie would embrace him. I'm just saying. Charlie would embrace him. So, let's stick to Charlie's values, shall we? And let's be fair. How many people have been convicted on crimes they never committed? On circumstantial evidence or missing evidence because everybody's emotional. North American law, Canada and US, UK too for that matter, and same with Australia and other countries, rely on a lot of hearsay and emotional response versus evidence. He didn't do enough. At least not that I can see. Prove he had the gun on him. With video or photographic evidence that he had the gun on him. And I'll listen. And so will many others. But I don't buy it. There's just not enough evidence there. And certainly not enough for this kid to be that good of a shot. That was really good. But you know what we do know? A lot of things, including that drone. I mentioned it before. There was a drone there. And, did you guys ever see the video of the drone? I can fire off a round. Little explosive device. There was no exit wound. I'm just saying. There's more to this story. I'm not buying it. Rest in peace, Charlie. Whether the authorities figure it out or not. Those that love you. We're looking. We're doing what we can with what we got.